Really cool tools to be able to show what they are finding as they fly into Erica. All right, so time and data, that's what we need to make that cone more narrow. And so we've got the data coming in from the hurricane hunters, and that data will be fed back to the Hurricane Center and also into the models to help provide a better starting point for what's going on with the system right now. So here is the hurricane hunter path. Now this is the Air Force C-130 aircraft, leaves out of St. Croix. It's been flying through this morning, and so that's the path that is taken so far. Let's look at the data. So this is a look at every single observation that has come in. Right now, let me get you the right now. It's a little touchy, but it's a cool tool nonetheless. Make it a little bigger. Right now, we've got winds estimated at 23 miles per hour in the current position that the plane is flying. But what you'll notice as you go back in time and you see some of these spots where the wind speeds were measured and estimated at the surface as stronger, close to about 40 back here. Back when they were flying over here, the wind speeds were actually a little above where the advisory is, getting closer to that 48 mile per hour range. And I want to tell you guys that actually they found those stronger winds up in this portion of the storm. And again, that's all interesting and important information as we continue to track the evolution of Erica. So we go from the tropics and the tropical moisture associated with it to what's happening in the western U.S. And Jen Delgado, it is just dry and smoky there. Now, right now, we want to talk tropics and what's happening right now, and that is Tropical Storm Erica. It is continuing to hold its own, if not strengthen ever so slightly. That's the change we've seen this morning. So let's bring you the latest. 8 o'clock advisory is the latest one we have. Next one will be out at 11 a.m. This advisory has winds up to 45 miles per hour and the pressure at 1,005. The previous advisory had winds at 40, and the pressure actually was a few millibars lower. So, no significant change, I think, through the course of the morning so far. But the hurricane hunters are out here, and we are getting data in about the winds. And again, the winds have been close to this threshold so far. Let's take a look. We've got the warnings up. Tropical storm warnings are up for St. Kitts and Nevis and Antigua, also Anguilla as well. Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, all under tropical storm warnings. And we will start to see impacts by tomorrow as we look first at the northern Leeward Islands and then to the Lesser Antilles. Now, here is the latest with the cone, and expecting a new cone as well. That comes out at 11 o'clock from the National Hurricane Center. You'll notice that the cone is relatively narrow in the short term and gets larger in the longer term, as is often the case, right? There is more uncertainty as you go out in time because you don't know what is happening tomorrow and the next day before you get all the way to Monday. However, there's some things we can tell from this cone as to potential impacts. The strength is going to be directly related to the path it takes. If it takes this more eastern end of the cone, more likely that it could be a stronger system. If it takes the southern edge, more likely that it would be weaker simply because there's some land that it will interact with. So let's look at more of the options and what is at play. We start with the visible satellite picture right now. And now that we've gotten a few passes of this here, now that we've gotten some daylight, a couple hours of daylight over the Atlantic Ocean, you see this sort of bubbling up. This is where we have some of the taller thunderstorms. And as the hurricane hunters have been flying in, what they've been finding is that some of the stronger winds are up in the northern quadrant and the northeastern quadrant, not as much down in here. And sort of when you look at this, it gives you that indication as well. You also see the sort of milky look here over top, and that's the tops of the thunderstorms blowing off that central dense overcast. Another clue or another piece of information that will be used to show that it is indeed holding its own or even strengthening. All right, so let's track Erica with the models. And these are some of the model forecasts that we are looking at. And you can see that in time, the models give us a big range, even bigger than the cone. So there certainly are some options as to what could happen. It all depends on what happens in the short term and then how the overall environment affects Erica in the longer term and steers it as well. Now, water temperature wise, we've got plenty of warm water. That's never been a problem. One thing to look at, though, is how deep is that warm water. And as Erica tracks further up here into this region through the Caribbean, actually the amount of deep water does increase, especially right over here into the Bahamas. So that'll be something to consider as well. The track really is going to matter when it comes to where, and relate that back to intensity because of the terrain that we are dealing with. And so let's look at that. Now, Puerto Rico, we do have some higher terrain here, but we especially have some bigger mountains that could disrupt the circulation in Hispaniola. So let's take a look. I mean, look right here, the DR, the Dominican Republic, and Haiti. These mountain peaks are up above 10,000 feet. So So these are some taller mountains that would, A, disrupt the circulation, but B, could also help out with the rainfall and help squeeze out some more moisture. So we could indeed be looking at more rain as well. A lot of things to consider. Short term, we know, Chris and Jen, that we will be getting some rain in the northern Libra Islands. That happening in the next 24 hours.